Hey, welcome back to the show. Get your pen and paper out. Today's episode is absolutely incredible. I've heard from you that you're enjoying these podcast episodes where I'm sharing specific stories of clients. I feel strongly that as entrepreneurs, we need to be powerful leaders. And that is a skill set that can be learned. And it's something that I have the privilege and opportunity of teaching to some really incredible entrepreneurs, people with a big heart, tremendous integrity, and incredibly brilliant problem-solving abilities. And so as that kind of an individual, we have to navigate really complex situations. And it's not easy. And these variables are dynamic. Each and every one of them is constantly changing. And then you keep in mind the fact that as a CEO, you've got a family, which means you have a spouse, you have kids, you have a home life, right? Evenings and weekends. And so we're carrying this tremendous responsibility, the complexity, the dynamics of the business, the huge decisions that we have to make, the team that we're leading, the board that we're building, the problems that we're solving through our products and services. And sometimes, as we put ourselves out there, we are the one who says, I'll take the responsibility. I will shoulder the weight of this. I will help us come up with solutions. As you move forward inside of your business, sometimes people want to take advantage of you and they will do something really unreasonable, accuse you of things that are totally false and totally not true. And the sad reality is, oftentimes it is legal for these individuals to do that. Today, I want to share with you a story of an incredible client, Liam. He gave me permission to use his name and share some of his story. If you go to my case study page, by the way, you'll see his story as well. It's an incredible story. Really smart individual, extremely hardworking, and yet was finding himself in situations that were not obvious how to get out of these situations. And so when I work with my clients, we have weekly sessions and they have something on their phone called Voxer. It essentially becomes a messaging system or a walkie-talkie where we can live talk to each other in between coaching sessions. And, he sent me a message at the end of the day, debriefing on his day. And it was really a tremendous weight. And I could feel it in his voice. I could hear it in the many things that he was having to face, situations with team members, clients unhappy, and even somebody who was pressing charges against him. Again, very unreasonably, and yet it was legal. And, this was putting Liam in a situation where it was hard for him to be present with his kids. It was super hard for him to be present with his wife. And that was really frustrating and maddening. So this first message that you're going to hear from him, he's going to kind of debrief with you just some of the many dynamics that he's experiencing. And again, I want you to pay attention to his energy or his lack of energy. And I also want you to see, of everything that he's talking about, what can you relate to? And what in his experience and story feels very similar and relevant to what you're facing today. Let's hop into the message.
Today was a challenging day for me. Still have the lawsuit stuff that's swirling around, getting more feedback there. Got some feedback on buying back some loans and some loans that apparently never closed as they were supposed to. And so there's just a lot of swirl currently, and a lot that feels like it's swirling on my shoulders, or I've put on my shoulders and trying to deliver, and just not, just feeling like I'm behind and not keeping up. Having conversations, one of my board members wants to come on, and so having conversations with him about what his role should look like, conversations with a couple underperforming salespeople. So those are ongoing conversations that we're having. Simultaneously, we launched an employee survey recently as part of just our normal cadence, and this quarter just looks like it bombed. We moved a lot of people moved from 9s and 10s down to 6s, 7s, and 8s in the last quarter, and so I think the team is feeling it too. So just feeling down, I would say, and not allowing myself to be reactionary a bit, and that things are happening to me as opposed to taking control. I know I will take control, but it's just feels like the pressure recently is just getting to me, and the things that I want to get done and not getting done just piling up, and that just adds stress. So that's where I'm at today. Going to shut it down, go get some rest, and then attack tomorrow.
Liam doesn't have to say much for me and anybody else who has built a business to understand the weight of what he is carrying. And the thing that was kind of topping it all off was this lawsuit that was so unreasonable. And he and I had actually been talking about this lawsuit for a couple months, and we were dealing with it. I was showing him frameworks and structures, and specifically, the advice I was giving him was, you've got to address this in a human way. And while this individual is pressing charges against you, very unreasonably, if you can get him on the phone and maybe even fly down there and go face to face with him. So over 2 months, he's trying to get this guy on the phone. He's calling, the guy's not answering. He is making requests through the attorneys. Still, it's not happening. And it's super frustrating to him. And what's happening over time is the anger, the frustration, the friction, the resentment. It's all building over these 2 months. And we have a call where I can tell he is out of alignment big time. It's something that, especially as I work with an individual, I can really sense it and feel it. And we have to get at the core of it. So we're having this conversation, and like I said, we've been talking about this situation for a couple months, and he was actively doing things to take care of it. And yet so much of it was not going his way. Quick question for you. What would happen in your business and life if you could show up powerfully? As a coach to high-performing entrepreneurs, I help intelligent people like you do just that. And if you want to be inspired by people who are getting more done in 90 days than most people do all year, I'm going to invite you to go check out my case studies. The website is now.katierichardson.com/case study. And the cool thing is, we've got so many case studies there. You can find an entrepreneur who's just like you. I've also got a link for you down in the show notes. Okay, back to the show. And I believe, and this is really important, I believe that yes, there are things externally that we have to do to grow our business. And there are also internal things that must be taken care of. And if we don't address the internal, we ourselves will create resistance to the very things that we say that we want. And so I got radically curious about what is that internal resistance that has to be neutralized within Liam. And even though it was very unreasonable that this individual was attempting to press charges against him and that it was such a huge distraction, even though that was unfair and unreasonable, there was something inside of him that was actually perpetuating the problem. And when my kids were young and one would come and complain to me about the other, right, boys, they would come to me, Truman hit me or Walker did this. I would always say, it takes two to tango. And I would ask the individual, what did you do to provoke your brother? What did you do to have him come after you? And so even though this was so unreasonable, I know that blame is destructive. And I know that there's something that we are doing internally, whether that is a belief, a position that we're taking, a stance that we have. There was something happening within Liam that was continuing this wrestle with this individual. And so I got really curious about that. And we went way deeper than we ever had internally within him in the conversation. And we end up discovering this tremendous anger, hate, resentment that he has towards this individual that he's actually trying to align with. So we discovered it. I showed him how to neutralize it. And you can't fake these kinds of things. So I had to help him get to an actual, real, authentic place where he was empathetic and understanding of this individual who was trying to press charges against him. It's not easy work. We get to this place. He could feel the difference. I could feel the difference. And I was like, wow, I don't know what happens from here, but you changed. And he was like, I feel it. I know it. And we get off the phone. And you won't even believe what happened within 1 hour. 1 hour of this, after this coaching session, 1 hour of him making a real, true shift internally that got him back into alignment. And within 1 hour, he sent me this message. Let's roll the tape.
It was too exciting to try to just leave on Voxer, so that's why I gave you a call. Just got a call. I had reached out to the partner at the law firm for the guy who was representing me, and I asked him like a couple months ago. I'm like, dude, you know this guy. He's worked with you before. Can you just reach out? Like, can you make this go away? Asked him 2 months ago. Well, just got a call literally 20 minutes ago from him, and I just followed up with him. Apparently, the other guy just wants to make this go away and would like to just talk to me directly without the attorneys and figure something out. And I'm like, divine intervention there, reconcile things with Katie and get to a point where we're ready to move forward. And look, boom, there it is. So it looks like they are willing to be reasonable. And the worst case is, buying the loan back and paying their attorney fees. And, if we can figure out something in the middle, then all the better. So it was some great news to be able to move forward on, but just wanted to share. Sent a note to the board asking them just to sign off. I copied you on that so you can see it as well. But yeah, I think we're really close to just putting this behind and being able to move forward, which is a much, much better place to be. I'm super exciting about that. It's a win. It's a win. In Liam's mind, who needs to win and lose, this is a win. But regardless of the win and loss, and just handling things for myself, I think it's major progress.
If you are a skeptic, I totally get it. I was at one point in my life. What's so incredible is I've been coaching entrepreneurs like Liam for 7 years now. And from the beginning, I made a decision to believe in true principles and to always execute from that place and to teach people truth and to show them how to actually live that truth. It's not enough to know the truth. You have to be living it. And that day in my coaching session with Liam, I found where he wasn't living truth. And we exposed it and we made a shift and a change. And what happened is exactly what he shared. Now, I was a skeptic myself, and I have seen a result similar to Liam's so many times that I cannot deny it anymore. And even though I didn't know what was going to happen after he and I got off on the call, I knew that he was in alignment with the truth. And that is a powerful position. So what happens on the other side of that? Often it's a surprise and it's unexpected and it's better than anything you could have ever come up with on your own. And that is why I myself and my clients are constantly making an effort to align with truth. It's a powerful position, and it is one that empowers you inside of your business, and it brings tremendous clarity. It brings focus, and it literally brings power. And so Liam got to this place of power through alignment in our coaching session. And just like he shared in this message, this individual who was refusing to talk to him, who was being extremely unreasonable and was only willing to work through the attorneys, which was just messing everything up, by the way. This individual picks up the phone and calls Liam and says, "Hey, I think the attorneys are getting in the middle of all of this. What do you say you and I get on the phone and we hash this out together? And I think there's a resolution that we could come to." It's amazing. It's amazing that this sort of thing can happen. And it's just the reality of true principles. When you live them, they transform your life. And what's so cool for Liam is something that was not only a distraction and draining his resources, time, energy, and money, all of a sudden was flipped and it started to reverse. The guy was very reasonable. They were able to come to a totally reasonable settlement. And within weeks, he was able to put this behind him and move on and focus on way bigger and exciting projects and clients and customers. Why do I share this story with you? Because when you live a dynamic life like you do as a CEO and as an entrepreneur, these sorts of situations show up with tremendous growth, with tremendous resources. You get tremendous opposition. And that's what Liam was experiencing. And it's an opportunity for you to learn a lesson about yourself. It's an opportunity for you to grow, to expand, and increase your internal stance into a place of power, into a place of alignment. And this is what Liam has done. And what's so cool, and I want to share this also, is when a client goes through something like this, the very next session, we pull it apart and we look at it from every possible angle, because I know there are tremendous gifts and lessons in that experience that if we just breezed by and moved on to the next things, we wouldn't have extracted the gift. And so we have to learn from those experiences. So even though we kind of made that situation right, I knew it was important to take time in the next session and really pull it apart and really, really look at it and have him share to me what he was learning and how in the future he will do things differently so he doesn't get in that kind of a situation. And I am happy to report that that was 6-7 months ago. And honestly, that kind of thing was happening occasionally. And he has not run into this problem since, because of the lessons that we learned and the rules that we created for him. And he has chosen to operate by those rules moving forward. So if you find yourself in a situation where it feels hopeless, it feels frustrating, there's tremendous friction, I want you to know there is hope and there is a way, and it includes alignment. And when you understand how to live truth, it will radically transform your life. It's worked for Liam. I know it'll work for you. Thanks for listening. I'll see you in the next episode. Bye. Hey, thanks for listening. I am sitting here so curious to know, what is your greatest takeaway from today's episode? We talked about a lot of things, and my hope is something in particular is really popping up for you. And if you heard my message in the middle of today's episode and you're wondering, hey, Katie, how can you help me get more done in the next 90 days than most people do all year? I'm going to invite you to go to that website, now.katierichardson.com/case study. I have 8 incredible VIP clients who have been so generous to share their stories of the problems that they were facing when they first met me and what they have been able to do because of the formulas, the systems, the processes that I have taught them as they have learned this art of showing up powerfully in their business. So go find the entrepreneur who's most like you, who's going to inspire you to see new possibility. And if you so feel inclined, I'm going to invite you to go to the next page where you're going to see a 6-minute video and I show you the secret behind the work that I'm doing with these incredible entrepreneurs. It might surprise you. So go watch that video. And then if you feel so inclined, fill out an application, because you and I will hop on the phone and we'll have one of the most impactful conversations you have potentially ever had in your life. I've had a client say, Katie, that call was priceless. And I was like, cool. Can you at least name a price? And he said, at least it was worth $10,000. So you have an opportunity to qualify for that if you fill out an application, if you qualify and meet the minimum requirements. And please, by all means, keep listening. I'll see you in the next episode, and keep being awesome.